You're listening to Stop and Beat by NL, part of his new project Hope and Healing, which we'll talk about on this first episode of the Weekly Beat. How did you go from Nate Lamont to NL? Like, tell me about that transformation.
Wow, it was a long journey because my dad originally started, working for Eastern Airlines years ago, and I lived in a suburb area, right around the corner from Central High School in Miami, Florida. Went to elementary school, Vanny Blanton. That's why I spent some of my elementary years. And he lost his job at Eastern Airlines and went out of business. And I it turned out the house got boarded up, whatever, and we moved out. So we were like the Jeffersons and Merck first. Well, you're moving on down. So at the time it was, I guess, for my dad and family it was, bad because you go from suburb, now you move to the hood. And in those, or the hood or the urban areas, or whatever you want to call it, but the areas where it's not conducive to thrive and survive,
Right.
because there's poverty, lack of opportunity, and there's drugs everywhere, violence everywhere. And if you make it out of there, just that alone is a lot of times a miracle in a lot of environments. And people are going through that right now as we speak. So that's some of the things I was going through neighborhood. And from that area, I moved over to the Alapata area.
Okay.
And I went to Alapata. And then from there, I moved to the Edison area. It was a lot of moving because it was a lot of financial issues, after losing that, great job for after 18, 20 years, union job for Eastern Airlines. And so he just worked odd end jobs from there. I seen him hustle. Like, he was like considered like one of the first Uber drivers, my dad, because, he used to just go up to the store, him and a couple of other guys, and just offer people rides from the grocery store, just to
Wow.
make, an extra dollar. And
Okay, so
he will
so they
hustle.
do that here in Baltimore, which is where I'm recording this from.
Okay,
So yeah,
okay.
they call it hacking here. Um,
Okay,
yeah, I grew up in New York. We had the dollar vans and the dollar cabs.
okay.
I know in Miami they also have like the jitney. So
Jitneys, yeah.
so I'm familiar with that grind and that hustle. My
Okay.
grandmother drove a dollar van, West
Wow.
Indian immigrant. So I'm familiar with some of these parts of your experience. Um, so for those of you guys that are watching, this is our first video interview on the Weekly Beat, and we have NL here. NL is originally from Miami. As you just heard, he was talking a little bit about, how he came up, grew up in a single parent household raised by his father. Why not your mom? Tell us a little bit about the story of your mom and how you wound up being raised by your dad.
At the time, my mom was going through a substance abuse issue.
Okay.
And she was dealing with that for over 20 years. And now, by the grace of God, she's gotten through it and over it. And she has a strong relationship with God, and she's doing well. And, we, talk and have a relationship. And, I send her money. She send me encouragement. And, it's just a great thing to have. And we just keep it simple like that, and again, you know, it's a lot of people that go through a lot of things, experiences, and for her to make it that long, because some people don't make it through the first, act,
Right.
of utilizing drugs. They overdose or something. So for her to experience that and go through that for 18, 20 years, and then still come out alive and be thriving now is just a blessing, man. It's a blessing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, so I got a chance to listen to your first, well, your album here, right? It's called Hope and Healing. So
Yes.
tell me how you went from, being raised by a dad, um, experiencing a lot of hardship growing up, moving around. I lived in Miami, so those places
Okay.
that you talk about when you talk about Liberty City and you talk about Alapata. I saw, when we did our written interview, you talked about living in Little Haiti as well.
Yeah,
So I'm familiar with all of those
it's
areas.
a lot,
It's
right?
it's it's not the it's not it's not, shall we say, South Beach, right? Or
Right, no, not at all.
it's not
Not at all.
Aventura. Um,
No, it's not.
so how do you think those experiences have shaped you as an artist? Let's start there. How do you think those experiences have shaped you as an artist in terms of like the message that you're now giving, and then bring us into hope and healing?
Well, even though there's a lot of lack of opportunity in those environments, drama and crime and just a bunch of things that are on the negative side of life, there was also some positive there. There was my dad, still being there in my life and teaching me how to sew and teaching me how to, be strong psychologically.
Okay.
And also just watching the people in the environment and me as a child interacting with the different cultures, Hispanics, Jamaicans, Cubans, white people from Pennsylvania, Germany, Australia, whatever, all in that environment. And then seeing them work as a family unit and thrive, get businesses, but they did it together. And seeing that, made an impression on me as I got older, to say,
Okay.
you know what, a family unit is important. Family is
Right.
important.
Right.
And my relationship with God is important because even in those environments, my dad didn't go to the ministry, but he sent me to the ministry. He sent me to church. So, that was important. That helped me as well through the process. And that helped me today, a relationship with God, family, hard work. You're still going to experience stuff. You don't allow it to stop you. And what I mean by stuff is racism still going on today, oppression still going on today, lack of opportunity still going on today. And the key is don't let it stop you, but I'm gonna make sure that I acknowledge it because I still have sons. And someone said something close to me the other day. Well, you got to make sure you worry about yourself first. You got to make sure you worry about, yeah, but me making sure that I speak up for people that look like me, guess what? I am speaking up for myself
Right.
because I have kids that look like me. My kids, by the grace of God, are going to have kids that look like them. So, and that look like me. So again, okay, I just put my head down and don't say nothing and then everything will be fine. Well, that works out for a few people, but everybody don't have a life where they just grow up in the suburbs and then after the suburbs, they go to a great school and have great friends, environments. Then they just thrive in life and everything's just perfect. Some people go through a lot and it's important to tell the essence and the truth of those stories, but understand that when you put it out there, guess what? You can still get through. You can make it. I did it. You can do it too. And
Absolutely.
that's
That's
what
dope.
music is.
That's dope. And so that's where we get to hope and healing, right? Um,
Yes.
so this healing process, where are you now? I heard you mention that you're a father. Talk to us about where you are with your in the healing process now, and how you what is the family dynamic now?
Well, the family dynamic is I've been married for 18 years by the grace of God. Not a perfect relationship. We go through things. However, the key is that relationship with God that both people have to have.
Hmm.
One person, if you're not on one accord in any way, it's going to cause problems. And so with my relationship with God, we both believe in God, and the healing process is every day. It's a daily thing because the daily there's something going on. You experience something going on. So every day is a healing process. And it has to be. Every day you go to the throne of God. Every day you pray. Every day you look to learn and grow. And through learning and growing and understanding, being empathetic and understanding not just where you're coming from, but doing your best to understand where other people are coming from,
Okay.
and that helps, and it's a daily thing though. Nobody can ever say I made it. Well, some people can say it, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily the truth, because my philosophy is and belief is, every day we're constantly going through life learning and growing and doing. And when you do that, you can't help but to continue to heal when you look at it optimistically. Like each day is another opportunity to do better, have better, speak better, live better, no matter what's going on or no matter how many times you fail.
Right.
because I fail every day in certain areas. I'm far from perfect. I'm
I
constantly
mean, we
failing.
we we,
That's
we
why
both do. Yeah.
that's why my relationship with God is so important.
Hmm.
Because when people may not forgive me, He does. And here's the thing: forgiveness is important. I believe that forgiving yourself, forgiving others, it has to be done, in my opinion. However, forgetting, you shouldn't forget, because if you forget, in my opinion, that means you haven't learned.
Right.
And when you learn, you make sure that the same thing doesn't keep happening over and over again. Now, one, we can't control people or environments. However, we can control ourselves and how we react and what we do. And what we do, other people may not like, but it still has to
Absolutely.
be done.
Absolutely. I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you, talk about forgiveness. Obviously we talked about the hope and the healing. Some of the even the song titles that you chose, right, where it's like, let's keep going.
Yes,
What were you thinking? Because for our listeners and our viewers, right? For those have listened to the album
right,
and that those that are viewing this interview,
right.
on "Let's Keep Going," there aren't really words, right? It's all music. It's a track,
Yes,
it's a music based track, and then
yes.
I'm assuming that you're inviting others to collaborate on that track, and put their own lyrics to it. But what made you title it "Let's Keep Going," and what musically is in there that when you were making it that made you say, you know what, this is the title for that song?
Well, that's like trifold. One, I'm a business and I'm an artist because I have music that's authentic. It's a publishing company, but I'm an individual as well.
Okay.
So the motivational aspect there, it's a purpose. This is my purpose. This is the lane that God has me in. But also, it is to make money. However, sometimes when you talk too much, you get lost in a lot of things. So my main thing is just hitting with the title. If you understand the title, then you understand the mission. And the
Right.
title is the "Let's Keep Going," the motivation. That's enough said. Sometimes you need to cut off certain words. You know what I mean? Sometimes
Yeah,
you need
absolutely.
less people when you're going to do stuff, and so that's what it is. And then, through the spirit, I just put the music. God just gives me the music. And through you understanding the title and hopefully the way the music moves you like it moves me, it not only encourages, motivates, and inspires, but you understand that that's been done because you think about just certain things we've gone through the past couple of years with COVID and just people losing jobs and getting sick and dying. And, I lost a family member on Christmas. On Christmas, we're at the house and the family member died right there in the house, and on New Year's Eve, we're in the hospital. So it's been a lot. And then let's keep going. It's a new year. Hey, it's still stuff is going to continue to go on. So we got to continue to go. It's
Yeah.
not like it's just going to be a new year. Everything's going to be over with and fine and dandy. No, we just got to continue to fight. We got to continue to stay in and continue to grind, continue to live, continue to grow, continue to look optimistically on life and understand that it's going to get better. It's going to get better. And that better starts with us, how we look at things, because how we look at things ultimately determine what we do
No
and
doubt.
then our outcome.
So, I mean, listening to the album, I heard Junkano music. Okay, and what's crazy is I used to spend a lot of time in the Bahamas. Actually, I used to work on a ship that
Oh,
would
wow.
port out of Nassau, Bahamas. We never got to
Okay.
stay for Junkanoo, but I knew when it was always coming. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And
yeah.
but then living in Miami, I finally got to hear some Junkanoo music. What is that like on Northwest 54th? At like the MLK parade, and I was like, "Oh, this is lit, right?" And
Uh-huh.
so hearing that, and then hearing what song is it? "Stop the Beat,"
Stop the beat.
right? And I'm hearing this, and I'm like, "This sounds like Junkanoo in the background, right?" Like how like what's going on here?
Okay. So every year in Miami growing up, we used to also have what was called the Goombay.
Okay,
And the Goombay was Bahamian themed. It's parade that was happening down in the Coconut Grove. And it happens every year. And then we also started to have Cayocho. It was
okay,
like a Spanish parade. And
okay,
so, with that happening once a year, that allows, even though my heritage is from, that area, that
Hmm.
allows other people to enjoy that,
Right.
that inspiration, that good time, and it's so funny with the Goombay, unlike other parades where they really structured and everything.
Uh-huh.
And I think they have also the Goombay in Key West as well. The Goombay, anybody could just go in. You'll see random people marching, in there dancing and everything, having a good time. And it's like, I did, if you notice on the beat part on the
Hmm.
wording, the
Yeah.
B is lowercase and EAT is capitalized E.
Yeah.
Basically, stop and beat meaning stop and take time to refresh and rejuvenate through this hope and healing process. Take time to enjoy life. Even though it's hell, no matter what's going on, you have to take time to renew and refresh yourself. You have to.
What is your creative process? What does that look like?
Honestly, my creative process has been life. So when it's time to create, make music, it just comes out when it's time. Because it's there, because it's from my experience. Everything I
Okay.
create is from what, I'm going through experiencing, and what, the God, the spirit, the universe has me wanting to put out,
Yeah.
has,
Yeah.
for someone else to, and it's always to help motivate. It's
So so
always for
so
that.
so sorry to cut you off, but so are there times then if it's motivated by life, right? We know that
Uh-huh.
life brings us up and downs. I mean, you even talked about I mean these last 2.5 years, right, with COVID, the
Right.
pandemic, and everything that's associated with that. Are there times that you haven't been so creative because life just didn't wasn't you know creative at that time?
No, no, that's when
Okay.
I create. Even then, I
Okay.
create, but it
So you
still
always
comes out
finding
through
something to
motivation.
draw on creatively
Right,
for your music.
right, and it's helping me when I do it. It helps me.
Okay.
The art helps me, motivates me, and encourages me. You
Okay.
know,
Um so listening to your music, I I usually, when I review music, I try to, make some comparisons, right? For listeners like, okay, so who does he sound like, right? And doing that for you was difficult. I couldn't just pinpoint to a particular producer, a particular genre, and just say, "Oh, this it's
that's
like that,"
awesome. That's
right?
awesome.
It is awesome. But I am intrigued though, by like just musically, who you think that you have been most influenced by, and who you listened to growing up.
The influence part is different. It may sound politically correct, but it's
Yeah.
not, because
Okay.
okay, let me see. When growing up in Miami, you being around so many different people, I was around people also from New York. I'll never forget when someone introduced me to Diggable Planets. In Miami, I was listening to Diggable Planets. They from New York, and they were, and they were like, hey, listen to this.
Yeah.
A female in my class. And I was listening to Diggable Planets. I was listening to Onyx. I was listening
Okay.
to
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
MC8, Celly Cell, everybody. And then these two guys, Jazz and Mo, I never forget them. They were from California, and they were bloods. One was straight lane and one was Pyru. They
Hmm.
were Muslim. And this one I was trying to find myself as a teen, and I took Shahada. I was Muslim for a few years,
Okay.
and they were like, hey, I was going through some hard times in high school. They were like, hey, you can live with us, but you gotta go to school. So I lived with them for 6 months. And they had every mixtape you can think of from everywhere. I mean, when I say I listen to so much music, I listen to so much music. And that's what they invested in, music. So I heard everything. Dr. Dre, Eminem, Snoop, Ludacris, even the people today, Playboy Cardi, Young Nudie. I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah.
Queen Latifah, MC Light. It's just so many DJs, so many
Yeah.
producers. Look, even some rock stuff,
Mhm.
Disturbed, Linkin Park, 311, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Green Day.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just it's
I
it's
was hoping you
unending.
mentioned Green Day. I couldn't
J-
say it for you, but yeah, I was hoping.
James Brown, Anita Baker. It's just so many. Otis Redding, Ohio players. You see, look, now I feel like I done did it injustice because I can't name everybody.
Right, right.
I literally listen to so
Yeah,
much music
yeah.
over my lifetime.
Well, I mean, that's actually helpful because it explains why you can't just pinpoint one particular artist and be like, yeah, I mean, he really, or it's really giving me that vibe, right? I mean, it's very eclectic and it incorporates so many different things. There's even a track where I heard like a little Latin flair in there.
Yeah,
And I'm like, okay, I mean, I get this because, you grew up in Miami. Actually, you know what? We didn't discuss where are you now? I mean, I see you in your car, but
yeah.
where you living now? Are you still in Miami?
No, I'm in North Georgia, right outside Atlanta,
Okay,
and I
okay,
and I've been here. I've been here since 2005 when I got out the military.
okay.
And
All
because when
right,
I was in the military, I lived in DC, Washington D.C., and in Norfolk, Virginia. And
okay.
DC was great because that go-go, oh man, I used to love it.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I was listening to some Go Go yesterday, actually.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, Go Go's great. Also, I don't know how familiar you are with like second line brass band music, like out of New Orleans. New Orleans is a brass band.
Trombone shorty.
Trombone Shorty, yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, oh yeah. I listen
So
to that. Yeah,
that's a
yeah,
good,
love it.
genre as well if you like go-go.
Absolutely.
So a couple more questions. Um, your dream collab. If you could collaborate with one person,
Oh man. Oh no, don't
only
do that
one.
to me. Oh, don't do that to me. Oh man.
I mean, it could
Frank,
be. Listen, it could be
Kurt Franklin.
one. Kurt Franklin, dope.
Kurt Franklin.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's dope. Kurt Franklin himself is a collaboration, right? That's one of the things I've always admired about him is his ability to take, you know, musical art forms that are not necessarily associated with gospel music and
Right.
bring them in people who are not necessarily associated with gospel music and collaborate with them. That's
Absolutely.
dope. I mean, I think that'd be a great collaboration. So social media, where can people find you on
They
social
can
media?
find me on Instagram at producer NL, that's producer INL, and on TikTok at NL producer, INL producer. And
Okay.
my website, they can go visit and purchase some stuff.
Yeah.
Please help me out a little bit, on the purchase side. Music that's authentic.com. That's
Okay.
MUSICTHATS authentic, AUTHENTIC.com. And that would really be help me. I'll be grateful, appreciative, and that will just go back into the music.
How many kids do you have?
4
Four
and
kids.
2
God bless you.
dogs, so
And
6.
two dogs.
So
A lot of mouths
6.
to feed.
It
Um,
is.
so tell me, what's your
2
favorite
of
thing
them
to do when
grown.
you're not making music?
Spend time with my family.
Okay.
Yes, spend time with my family, man, and just chill, man. I can be alone and have no problems. You know what I mean? I mean, I enjoy my company. I just, but with the fam, man, and my wife. My wife is my best friend, man.
Okay.
She get on my nerves sometimes, and I get on her nerves, but you
Yeah.
know,
Sometimes it be like
that's
that.
my best friend.
Yeah.
That's my best friend, man. You know what I'm saying? And you know, regardless, I could never do anything, in any of this stuff without her, being there. She's been played a significant role in all of this. And so, that's what it is.
That's so. Tell me, we we know about you. We know where to find you. We know about the project. We know about your kids, your family. Uh, Tell me two things. Where are you
So,
at with your mom now? Where are y'all in this healing process? And what does that look like?
well, with my mom, basically, we have a relationship,
Mm,
and that's all that matters.
yeah.
We have a relationship. We talk, and it's been good like that, keeping it simple.
One last question.
Right.
Um, what's next for you?
More music,
Mm.
more business, more blessings for myself, the people around me, hopefully the people that's motivated by me, and just more inspiration. That's it.
Well, I appreciate you being our first guest. I really appreciate that.
I'm honored. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm honored. This
yeah,
has been a
and
privilege. Trust me.
for everybody watching, I'll post down at the bottom all the links so you can get in contact with him. and we're excited. You know, guys, make sure you check out Hope.
You're an awesome person. Look, you gonna I'm telling you, you're gonna make millions of dollars. You're an awesome person. You fit this, just your personality, you just everything about everything. This is a perfect gumbo. You're gonna be highly successful. And I'm honored that I'm the first guest to be on here. So I'm going with you. Can I
All
come?
right, yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right, I'm
Thank
going to
you.
receive that. We're going to the top together.
Amen.
All
Amen.
right, amen.
All right,
All right,
all right,
thanks.
man. Thanks for
Have a
having
good
me,
one.
man. Have a
Best of
blessed
luck.
one, man.
All right.
Peace.